Hello and welcome to Spotless, which I am going to do a review within, I don't know, 10 minutes if all goes well. I've played this for about 2 hours. There's another video up that you could probably watch on my channel that is about near 2 hours long, but I figure some people probably only want a shorter video that just kind of shows the game and is essentially a type of, you know, review, like my least favorite type of video, because I just don't really do the reviews. Anyway, point is, here we are. Now, Spotless is a game that, you know, you can probably put 2 and 2 together. It is all about cleaning, and, you know, not just cleaning, but defeating some dust bunnies and various dust creatures. And I have to say, it is one of the most addictive games I've played this year alone. It definitely has that one more round gameplay kind of style to it, but on top of that, it also has just a really satisfying gameplay loop. The more you play, the more you kind of like learn the ins and outs of everything, of how things work. You start to get more upgrades that do a lot of cool stuff. And the next thing you know, like a lot of time has passed because you're just having a jolly good time. So, you know, it's... Oh, whoops. I've never fallen down one of those before, but yeah, it was worth experiencing for the first time. But anyway, but it's one of those games that, like, it just... You know, there's something beautiful about the simplicity of it, and also, as a fan of the Gameboy art style, it's certainly something that kind of, you know, fulfills like a niche of desire that I want in the back of my head, I guess. So, yeah, they're not too happy about it, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So all of this, none of that really matters. I find like the satisfaction and dissatisfaction isn't super important, because it doesn't really do like a whole bunch of good stuff. Yeah, we get a little bit of cash, perhaps, but overall, like, there's not really anything that's like super good about it. Like, it doesn't really, it doesn't give you a whole lot of like importance. I didn't even look to see what this person wanted. I'm very bad at that. So when you first start the game, you won't actually have the ability to have these kind of like extra quests, but as you play, you can unlock all kind of new stuff, and one of them is demands and requests from the actual customers, which increases the chances of getting your bonus stuff, and just like kind of all kind of goodies and stuff. It works really well. Like, it's just you know, it's just really well done. Like, I'm very impressed in every possible way there is to be impressed by the game. You do have to pay attention to, you know, the stuff that they tell you to do, but yeah, you can still have fun if you don't. One of the things that they'll tell you to do every once in a while is not to use an attack, which I use with the brushing. I don't bother with that. I think part of the main entertainment the game provides is, you know, the cleaning aspect, and specifically cleaning in all the different ways you can clean. And the most effective way for me has been to, well, essentially sweep and mop and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, well, we still got their demand. I mean, we didn't quite get the stuff. Let's lie about that. Sweet. Success. And I sold the secret for $265. Sweetness. Well, that's something that's definitely going to be a little bit more useful as time goes on. I'm not going to use the mop. We can re-roll, which I think is it does a good job here with this. We got a couple of different choices. You can only do that so many times per time around, but don't use spray. Easy enough. Now, the enemies that you will encounter, none of them are particularly difficult. I will say, like, you know, yes, there's a lot of enemies you will be killing over time, and I would say it kind of feels like a major part of the game, but it isn't anything that's overly difficult. There's the occasional time that things can be a little bit rough or difficult, like these guys that if they hit you, they cause stink, and then it affects our ability to clean effectively. And there are certainly times where that became a little bit frustrating because, you know, it's like I've done like so much, and now you're telling me that these things are just gonna keep kind of ruin it for me. It's like this situation of supposed to like kill all the enemies. I may not be able to pull this one off. Given the amount of time required. Oh, okay, I did. And there's like a there is a time requirement that kind of works really well, I guess. Like, it's not anything like crazy, but I think it works. Anyway, I have quite a bit unlocked as you play. There's a couple of things that you're going to unlock. You're going to unlock different attacks, or not attacks, but different cleaning supplies that are essentially your attacks. And you will also unlock new locations and you know, new various upgrades that you can use. The upgrade system, as far as you know, the different things we get, we have two different ways. We got the way that is during an actual shift, where we're going through these locations and you know, doing our actual cleaning, and then you have it in between, you know, the missions or the shifts where it is attached to the upgrade screen, where we can do some pretty decent upgrades, and that's how you unlock some of the new cleaning supplies. And it works really well. Like, I don't think there's anything that I would really complain about for it, but the only complaint I really have when it comes towards the upgrades is not really the upgrades at all. It's more about just like the unlocks, because we unlock like a lot of locations as you play, but the problem is as we unlock them, they don't really appear as easy as you would expect. So you don't really know whether or not the place that you've unlocked is going to show up during a run at all. It typically will, but you might play the same level several times before you even hit one of the new places you found. And that process can be kind of disappointing, because it's like, oh, I found like a whole lot of new places. You know, I want to go to one of these new places, but you're not there. Like, and it's just kind of unfortunate, because even though I've unlocked a lot of places, there are still several locations that I've unlocked that I have not been able to actually visit. Oh, and then I didn't look to see what the goal was. Defeat all enemies and go swimming. Alright. That one's actually really easy. I don't like going swimming because it damages you. But depending on the upgrade path you've really kind of chose, you're going to get like a lot of stuff that's actually going to kind of make demands like that actually really easy to do, because, like, you know, enemies maybe drop health, or you're going to find health other places, or whatever. It's always helpful to get all these different upgrades. Those silver sponges are pretty fancy. So sometimes you just gotta take the chances. See, like, I already got a heart. Like, I mean, things are looking pretty spectacular for my little dude who really likes to clean. You get some coins and everything. So anyway, I mean, like, yeah, again, like I said, like, I don't know, review videos just are not like my strong suit. because I would rather just play the game and talk about it as opposed to talk about the things that I liked about it in a very condensed fashion. It just feels less sincere, but obviously with the attention span of some people, I don't know if I want to say that, but not everybody has a lot of time for a long video of somebody rambling on about the game that they've been playing. So I will try to keep this short, and like I said 10 minutes, I think, and we're going to go with 20 minutes because I feel like that's going to make more sense. Don't use defense, super easy. So anyway, let's try to focus here like a person who knows how to actually review a game, and I will do my best to actually just do a legitimate review this time instead of babbling on for too long. So let's talk about the combat. The combat is something that you know, we're watching right now. I'm using my brush. There are various things you can use. I have traps, I have a spray bottle, and I'll be honest, the traps in a spray bottle are relatively disappointing. I don't use them very often because they don't really do much in the way of damage. The trap is useful, I would say, in slowing down the enemies, but as far as using it as an offensive technique, I would say it's less capable to be useful. Now, with combat, there are like a couple of special enemies, like this guy, who can make me stinky, which will affect my ability to clean, which is, you know, it's something that I think is well done. It makes total sense. I'm not a big fan of it because I think it lasts far too long. Because it doesn't really go away until you find deodorant, which could be an item drop, or more likely something you have to buy later on. And that process is fine, it's really cool, but it sucks because, you know, it can really affect your capability in making a lot of money or doing any of that stuff, which is, I think, kind of on the disappointing side when you're trying to do pretty good. Like, and then you'll get something like this where it's a demand, don't use attack. Well, I mean, my choices here are to walk around and, you know, not use the attack, but I'm still attacking, kinda. And in some cases you'll actually have enough spray to do this if you, like, upgrade things well enough. I personally look at the situation as like, you know what, I'm not going to meet those demands, I'm not going to beat that customer request. It's just not worth it to me, because the combat, I think, is one of the more enjoyable aspects of the game. It does suck that you're not going to be able to get some of the things that you're supposed to get, you know, customer demands and all that stuff, but it's not a negative experience if you don't hit those requirements. Like, you just don't get as good rewards. Your rewards are a little less good. So it's something that you could do if you want to, but the game doesn't really punish you too much for doing it, and that's something I really appreciate as somebody who only has so much time to spend on an experience. You know, I prefer it to be like I play something and my time has been of value. You know, I actually got to experience a good amount. So anyway, that's really like the gist when it comes to combat. It is not optional. It is something you will have to do in the game, I think, but it's good. It's very satisfying. We still aren't getting good enough to lie. Once I have enough money, I can get like a 50% chance of that working, which I would say is something I should just kind of save up for, but I really haven't been doing that. Alright, so that's the end of the talk about combat. Combat is pretty simple, I think. The cleaning aspect, I like. I think the cleaning aspect is just really, it's really satisfying. There's nothing crazy about it. I mean, we have our different options of what we could use to clean, but I primarily just use you know, the broom or the brush or the mop, whatever specific item I have. And the game does allow you to switch your inventory items out, so you can always choose something different. So if you're like, you know what, I don't really like the duster because it's hot garbage, because, you know, it is hot garbage, which is why we are not going to use the duster. I shouldn't say that the duster has its moments that are pretty good, because the duster allows you to get like a wider range of things, but it just has a weak start to it. But everything that you have at your disposal is, you know, it has its own very specific use towards cleaning or fighting the enemies. And it's just really well done. Like, it's really impressive how much they were able to squeeze into this to make it like this really enjoyable experience. And I think that's like something that I've been really happy with. The game is just overall super charming, super addictive. And, you know, part of it is, I think, because of how easy it is to do the cleaning and how satisfying it feels to accomplish. Because in some cases, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I'm getting it from, I'm getting a lot of this cleaning from killing the enemies. Sometimes I'm getting it from, you know, taking care of dust or, you know, cleaning actual objects. You know, just a lot of different ways to achieve what you want to. And I find that it's just really satisfying. And that's keep out of the water and defeat no enemies. Yeah, that's going to be one that I'm going to fail, because one of my favorite parts of the game is defeating enemies, so... It's like asking me not to eat a delicious sandwich. That's why I can't work like at a sandwich place, because I would, you know... I guess I would eat the sandwich that I was making. Oh, I got like completely hosed. I got the stink on me, so... Well, at least now we can see that. So I guess that kind of goes into something to talk about, and that is the different status effects you can get. I feel weird trying to review like the status effects, and maybe doesn't make a lot of sense. Because when it comes to status effects, I don't think those make or break the game. I don't really like how much, you know, how long it lasts with stink, because again, my choices are to either find something that is going to kind of, you know, clean me, or, you know, like some deodorant on the map itself, or I have to hope for it during an upgrade screen, which it feels like it just doesn't happen very often. So it'll carry over, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. And to close things up during this part of the run, we'll talk about the graphics and the sound to really kind of tie this all together. And, you know, I will be honest with you, when I play games, it's not about the graphics for me. Like, you know, yes, do I care if a game looks nice? Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes those graphics are part of what makes a game so memorable. But I don't think a game, you know, should put all of its focus in looking a specific way. Because if the gameplay itself isn't fun, it doesn't matter how beautiful the game looks. It's like, you know, Kathy Ireland, she was a supermodel, and she was gorgeous to me when I was a kid, and then I watched her in some movie, Mars Girls Go Crazy, or something, I don't know. She came from Mars, and her character was like just as ditzy as could be, and oh man, it just really ruined her for me. I just didn't think she was pretty anymore, because she played such a like character that was just so clueless that I just couldn't get into it. Anyway, so my point is, you know, graphics and arts are not everything. And I know that Kathy Ireland has nothing to do with the video game, so it probably doesn't work. So I will circle back and do a better job here and actually speak on, you know, of the video game itself. Don't use the fence, so use the, whatever. So graphically, right? The game's graphics definitely lend it this kind of old school, this is what you would see on a Game Boy. And honestly, I haven't seen too many games that have focused on the idea of what it would look like if you were still playing something on the Game Boy. Or you know, they capture like the aesthetics a tiny bit, but they don't really capture it in a way that makes it feel authentic. It's like, oh yeah, you know, this theoretically could be on, you know, a Game Boy way back when in the 90s, but, or the 80s or whatever it was. I think it was the 90s, but it doesn't feel as authentic as you might think. And then there's games like this that really managed to pull off, you know, the best parts of what I remember, you know, of what it was like to play a game on the Game Boy without, like, all the things that I hated. Like, you know, like, I hated the fact that you needed the dang backlight to be able to see when you were playing. But I loved, you know, just how much attention to detail could be put into something with such a limited color palette. And the game manages to do that in spades. Because we only have, like, you know, we got, like, I don't know, essentially black and white and gray. So colors here, pretty simple. There's not like a lot going on, but you know what? The game looks fantastic. It does a great job of capturing, you know, what I would expect from a Game Boy game, as well as doing a great job of capturing, you know, enough modern day, I guess, you know, enough modern day graphical things that I would expect, I guess, you know, like with the, you know, having a decent resolution and all that good stuff. Basically, the graphics are great. The game looks really good. Very happy with what we have. I like the very nice variety that we have. What is this guy? That's like one of the first times I've ever run into this fire guy. I think I've run into him one time before. So that went really poorly. Anyway, yeah, so that's the graphics. Like, again, I just think they look great. The animations are good. We have a huge variety of enemies themselves. And it works really, really well with, you know, everything that we have, which is really impressive. Alright, and the final bit of information that I will talk about is the music and sound, and then that will be it. This video will be over, the review will be done. In traditional fashion, longer than I originally stated, because once again, I don't normally do review videos. I just don't know how to do them effectively. So, the music. The music is great. It's very catchy. It's very satisfying. That seems grossly unfair to start me back at a spot and have, you know, enemies instantly come over and attack me to do the stink. But whatever, I mean, it's just happens to be what happened. Anyway, the like I said, the music, oh, well, you know what, that's good news, it still worked. The music, I think, is really, really catchy. Like, all the tunes are pretty nice. I have found them to be really satisfying to listen to, pretty addictive overall. Like, you know, there hasn't been a time that I've loaded up the game and I've been like, oh yeah, I don't want to listen to this anymore. Every time I have played this, you know, whatever I have heard has been something that I'm really happy with. So, I think that's something that is really hard to do in any game, whether it's chiptune music, whether it's some kind of cinematic stuff, to successfully have like every track is something that the player really enjoys. I mean, I think that is a testament to just really capturing, those moments that, I don't know, they just kind of work really well, and I think that's probably one of the more impressive things about this game. Yeah, and the sound effects, I would say, also work really well. The sound effects are perfectly fine. It's like the typical bips and bops that you would expect to hear, and yeah, they work great. They're very fitting for the game. So, there you go. That's the game in a nutshell. Spotless. It's a fantastic title. I definitely recommend it. And yeah, that's going to be it. I told you I was going to try to make it as short as possible, and I failed miserably. But there you go. If I don't really do numbers because I think numbers are silly, but if you want to hear numbers, I would probably give this game a 9 out of 10. And the reason it's not a 10 out of 10 for me is just because, despite there being quite a few levels, the random nature of how you get them, it just doesn't feel like it's making a full utilization of all the levels. So we experience a lot of the same levels over and over and over again instead of the full gamut of what's there. But other than that, I've just had a fantastic time. So that's it. Goodbye. Have a nice Monday.